Chairman. I'm very happy to take a call on this bill, bill that was considered by the Health Select Committee when I was a member of it, although I'm not now. And well, I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm sure my colleagues are holding the fort extremely well. I'm not sure if there's any business, is there? This was a really interesting one for the committee because we actually heard first about herbal tobaccos or herbal highs when we were deliberating on the Smoke-Free Environments Amendment Bill, and there was a consideration of whether or not herbal tobacco should be included in the display bans. And then, obviously, the amount of media and the committee's awareness of this very harmful set of substances certainly grew quite considerably. And for me, I was at a conference in Christchurch in May when a young man of about 21 wanted to come talk to me about his experience with ACC following a serious head injury, which was very good, I have to say, a very good experience from the Timaru branch. But the conversation turned on to the use of herbal highs, and he described his experience with using Chronic Pineapple Express, I think it was called. And at that point I thought, well, actually it might be worth trying it. It's legal, even then it was only just R18. And I had contemplated giving it a bit of a go to see what the reaction might be. Well, after the conversation with this fellow, I didn't. He described an extraordinary experience where he was hallucinating, where his peripheral limbs virtually went numb, where he said to me, you know what, I was legally able to drive, but I could hardly walk. And indeed, there is a case actually in New Zealand that police are investigating a fatal accident where chronic may have been a contributing factor to a young person dying on our roads. And so this is a very important, yes, it's a motive, yes, we may not have the science, but I congratulate the Minister and I encourage strength to the arm of the development of the regulatory framework that will avoid the cat and mouse that we do run the risk of having over the next 12 months, as Mr Robertson described. I think that risk is low but real, and I think we need to be extremely nimble to identify these products as they come on the market and ensure that they are removed with all haste. I actually regret that we're not able to create that temporary regulatory framework, but I do understand that the definitional issues could be very challenging. So I do encourage the Minister and the Ministry in that area. I want to touch on the comments that ACT MP Heather Roy mentioned, because I think there's a liberal streak in all of us on this side of the House that says, you know, there is a live and let live element to this. But I have to say, I would accept that to a point, with two exceptions. One is the number of people who I see challenging me to ensure that our health services are accessible to the widest number of New Zealanders. And I think we've done an extremely good job of providing a lot more with a little more resources. But it really is not acceptable for me to stand by as a member of this House and not create a climate which prevents our young people from harming themselves to the point where they may be admitted to emergency departments around the country and then look other constituents in the eye and say we're doing our best in the health sector. I simply can't do it. So I accept the kind of liberal view of live and let live, but these substances are clearly having a very negative effect, particularly on our young. And to put it into our dairies and to not even have an R18 on it, even though the manufacturers claim that that's what they said that they encouraged, I think is quite a challenging situation that I'm pleased we've resolved, because it is about denormalising this thing. And the Honourable Damien O'Connor made some interesting comparisons with alcohol that I strongly disagree with. Because we could put motor vehicles into that category, or we could put fatty foods into that category. A lot of things are going to cause us harm if we use them in the wrong dosage. This is not a case with these herbal highs. None of this is going to do us any good. As Dr. Hutchison said, ingesting this stuff into our lungs has got to be terribly harmful, regardless of the psychoactive substances that are going to turn our neurons into scrambled eggs. So in summary, I think, Mr. Chairman, I really strongly support this. I'm sorry that some members, although I understand why, are not going to, but I do think this is progress, and I think our children will certainly thank us for it in the long run.
The Honourable